ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank everyone for attending this evening, and I'd like to welcome you to Chippewa Valley High School's Athletic Awards Night. We're all here tonight to recognize our varsity letter winners for their accomplishments as student athletes at Chippewa. The athletic point system that is used for determining tonight's athletic award winners is unique to Chippewa, and I'm not aware of any other school that utilizes a system like we do. Early records, which date back to 1962, do not refer to it as the athletic point system. Instead, it was called the Service Points Award System. This system was created to both encourage and reward service to Chippewa, or Washington High School as it was known when the system was created. You will notice tonight that while we rightfully celebrate and recognize all of our varsity letter winners, regardless of how many sports each individual participates in, those that represent Chippewa in multiple seasons throughout their high school careers are those that are recognized for our most prestigious awards. While our award system is different and more complicated than those used at other schools, it has played a role in helping preserve the Chippewa tradition of well-rounded, versatile, multiple sport athletic participation. In today's world of sports specialization, the Chippewa tradition of participation in multiple sports has played a role in producing well-rounded citizens that make a positive impact in their world beyond Chippewa. At this time, I'd like to call to the stage our 2013 Friend of Chippewa Award winner, Jill Linder, for a special presentation.
Good evening. This year marks the 22nd year for the Friends of Chippewa Service Award and has been presented to individuals who have given consistent support to Chippewa athletics. Much of Chippewa's athletic success over the years can be attributed to the tremendous assistance that has been provided from people from the local community and beyond. This year's Friend of Chippewa is well known by many in attendance here this evening. If you have attended more than one of the Chippewa athletic contests over the last several years, you have likely encountered this year's honoree, who has been a regular at events as a family member, a fan, and a volunteer. Most family members of high school athletes support their student athletes and can be found at all their sporting events. And this year's honoree has been no exception. However, the 2018 Friend of Chippewa religiously attends Chippewa events, rarely missing a contest, despite the fact that the commute to and from Chippewa is an hour away each way and over an 80-mile round trip. If you have attended Chippewa field hockey, basketball, cheerleading, tennis, track, or a unified sports event, you have probably encountered this year's honoree. If you, you have seen this year's Friends of Chippewa displaying handcrafted Go Chippewa signs and cheering enthusiastically not only for family members but for all Chippewa athletes. Some of the many things this year's honoree is known for are welcoming visitors to Chippewa events, volunteering to sell tickets at games, providing baked goods and beverages to Chippewa athletes and opponents, providing and cutting out newspaper articles of Chippewa athletes and sharing them with their families. These are some of the many things that have made our honoree and ultimate ambassador to Chippewa. Our Friend of Chippewa also had a career as an accomplished tennis player, winning dozens of tournaments and awards over 30 years, is a retired business teacher who volunteers with Red Cross, a Yukon women's basketball enthusiast, and is a champion for special needs children. For dedication, hours of unrewarded service to Chicago Athletics in the Region 12 community, I ask you to please join me in honoring our 2018 Friend of Chicago, Grammy Barb Newshell.
Something I can stand on. Thank you very, very much. Okay, I'm honored. There is something that I could pass on to all the young athletes that are here tonight. Excuse me. It's something that didn't originate with me, but it's something that someone told me many years ago. If you do your best and you know that it is your best, then the best will be good enough. If you, excuse me, if you lay it all out on the field, on the court, in the classroom, on the job, and you do the very best that you can do at that time, you can't expect anything more of yourself, and nobody else can expect any more from you either. So thank you.
To begin the coaches portion of our program tonight, I'd like to call up our unified sports coach, Heather Hurley, for a special presentation.
Good evening. Some of you might be wondering what Unified Sports is. Unified Sports is a division of the Special Olympics which joins students without disabilities and students with disabilities on the same team. It was inspired by a simple principle. Training together and playing together is a quick path to friendship and understanding. About 10 years ago, I began the Unified Sports team here at Chicago, and it has given many athletes and partners an opportunity to grow, succeed, and understand differences. There is a magic that my athletes possess. They approach their sport with great enthusiasm and energy, and forget about their ever-present smile. It's contagious. They are encouraging, they experience and give joy, and theirs is a special type of pride that you just don't find in other sports. It's magical. Many students in this room have volunteered to be partners, and I would like to take this time to thank you for helping this program be a success. A special thank you also to the other adults that have helped, Janine Mashad, Tammy Beatty, and Angie Sturgis, who I doubt are here, and Jay Stewart. It is my hope that you had fun, learned something, and were able to feel that magic that I talk about. Prior to each Special Olympic competition, the athletes have an oath which states, "Let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt." It's my honor to present you with the brave and magical high school unified athletes of the 2017-2018 school year. Alicia Crosley, Patrick Levine, Anna Balick, Ellie Polero, and our dedicated helper for the last 4 years, Will Juro. Volleyball, track and field, and swimming, and they're receiving special shirts with pins on them representing their sports.
Just waiting on stitch bits.
At this time, I would like to introduce our next speaker, the girls soccer coach, Tara Flaherty.
Good evening. Coach Dabrowski and I would like to thank the parents of each of the soccer players. They provided snacks at every home game, and I know the girls and the coaches really appreciated this. Thank you also for driving the girls to practice and picking them up on time and supporting them throughout the season. They appreciate and look for you at every competition. One of the great joys of coaching is getting to know our students outside the classroom. I feel very privileged to have coached the varsity girls soccer team this past season. We knew coming into the season that we were gearing up for a competitive year with plans on making the tournament. Our plans were based on 3 dynamic young ladies captaining the team, a strong and better seasoned goalkeeper, and prayers for a lot of goals this season. Our 3 captains, Lily, Avery, and Cassidy, were tremendous in their energy and positivity throughout the season. They are tenacious, and their impact on our team dynamics will be lasting. There are 2 games that stand out for me when I look back on our season. The Housatonic game at home and our tournament game on the other side of the state. I have never seen a goalkeeper on fire like Skylar was at our Housatonic game. She was an amazing athlete that evening and was certainly the star of the game. Our tournament game went into double overtime, coming from behind to take the game into penalty kicks. A lot of our lasting memories, though, will not come from what happened on the soccer field. It will come from our conversations and our powwows and learning to be leaders outside of the soccer team. Throughout the season, the team exhibited great sportsmanship, leadership, and competitiveness at every opportunity. I want to leave you with a thought from Abby Wambach. A lot of you have probably heard her commencement speech that's been all over social media. To my seniors, be the wolf, take the unpaved path, and continue to impress us with all you can accomplish. Thank you, ladies. I would like to introduce as our next speaker, our boys soccer coach, Jim Stinson.
Good evening. I'm going to try to keep this pattern rolling of keeping things short and sweet so we can get to the good stuff later on in the ceremony. Can't vouch for Charlotte though. So I think the best way to talk about this season is to start off by saying thank you. Thank you to Mr. Prachi for all that you did behind the scenes so that we could play. Thank you to Worky for keeping me sane. Thank you to Chris Schneider for keeping us healthy, relatively. Thanks to the families for allowing me to spend my fall afternoons with your sons. And most importantly, in many ways, thank you to my wife. Being married to a coach and having a son on the team is a difficult task. So, not only did she deal with both of us, she willingly became team mom and team photographer, and we thank you for your pictures. A few more thank yous. One to Mr. Conway and the Spartan Club. Thank you for the homecoming opportunity to play under the lights. We played hard, just wish we could have given you a W. Another special thank you goes out to Dr. Gora. This season, we were very lucky to have him come and help us at practice, and I know I speak for every one of the boys when I say they were thrilled to be introduced to what the Grand Master really means. And I also know they look forward to many more of them in the fall. And as for the fall, the future looks very bright as we are able to return 9 starters. So this season, we improved game to game. We put together a record of 5-9-2, which left us just out of the state tournament, which is not going to be the case next year. This group of boys were willing to work hard. There were some interesting moments. I'm only going to mention 2. One of them was Gavin Block's warm-up kick at Lewis Mills. And the other would be any one of Justin Wyant's soundtracks for the bus ride. Along the way, we were able to play some good soccer, picking up big-time wins over Litchfield, Thomaston, and Wilmington. In terms of our seniors, I want to thank you for all the laughs, smiles, and hard work that you brought over the past 4 years. Arturo, Patrick, Kyle, Jack, Andreas, Mike, Brendan, and my 2 captains, Nick and Alan. It has been a pleasure to be your coach. The future is bright. Grab every opportunity. Thank you. I would like to introduce as our next speaker, field hockey coach, Jay Stewart.
Good evening. The field hockey team is graduating 8 seniors, and these 8 girls have spent the last 2 years working hard at getting their posse to become a force to be reckoned with in the league, and they certainly did that. Lexi became that impact player that teams hated to see in front of the cage. Lexi had 7 defensive saves on the season, which gave Grace Thurmer breathing room between shots. Grace used her junior year to bounce into that tyrant that we needed in the goal mouth this season. Her wingspan and height deflected many a shot that would have whizzed past my head. Olivia Cody has played since middle school, and as her high school season's tradition, much like Grace learned to use the sideline as her friend and her wingspan as a special skill. She has had the opportunity to share the season with her sister, which sweetens the memories. Stasia and Avery Noto are twins from a different mother. Both arrived to our team with no knowledge of the game, but both determined to find their niche and make their presence known. I'm sure the rest of the seniors remember when they each scored their first goal, grinning and leaping like lottery winners. But my best memory of these 2 girls are their gentle souls and gentle concern for all involved. Our resident artist, Sierra, kept hair accoutrements edgy, pumped us up when we needed it, always left every ounce of effort on the field, and complimented Lexi and Annika's defense work in the backfield. Sierra always had been a truly coachable player and made each and every year enjoyable. The captain duo of Tierney and Olivia Moore rounded out the posse. Their knowledge, leadership, sense of humor kept this extraordinary group grounded and focused. These 2 have been exceptional models for all of our players. And next year, our freshmen, next year's sophomores, will reap the benefits of the impact that not only Olivia and Tierney had, but all of our seniors had on them. Thanks to Chris Schneider, our dedicated athletic trainer, Mr. Prachi, our athletic director, and the maintenance crew that kept our field in exceptional exceptional conditions. Sorry. Mrs. Hurley, Amy Retzel, and Bridget McCarthy, who all filled in throughout the season to coach our JV players. Culminating awards at the end of the season included Virtue League second honors to Julia Tierney Kovacs, Virtue League first honors to Lexi Gilbo and Olivia Moore. First team All-State honors were bestowed upon Olivia Moore. For new athletes and parents in the audience, at the conclusion of each sports season, the league coaches come together to vote on their opponent's sportsmanship. They rank their opponent's coaches, players, and fan base. So on behalf of our wonderful, supportive fans, who, by the way, Grammy Bard and Grandpa Thurman kept in line, my most gracious team, I'd like to present Mrs. Gallo with the Virtue League Sportsmanship Plaque. At this time, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, cross-country coach, Mr. John Spear.
The boys cross-country team had a season. Thank you. No. Their overall record was 5-4, and a fourth place finish at the Virtue League Championships was probably overachieving based on their summer running. The Sewer Hill Gang led by example, and there were plenty of slow strolls across the ridge enjoying the beauty of where we live and train. At the Virtue League Championships, Jack McCarran and Chandler Weatherby claimed first team honors. At the Class S meet with 1 mile to go, we were in the second place team position and in a prime spot to continue the success of the Tom Scarola dynasty. Unfortunately, Bolton made a strong move over the final mile and beat us out for the runner-up position. Chandler Weatherby did finish second overall to Ken Little, and Jack McCarran earned a trip to State Opens with a 12th place finish. This group of seniors, Jack McCarran, Chandler Weatherby, James Kennedy, Kyle LeMay, and Nick Iannazzo, had many highs and lows throughout their years in the program. I'd like to thank them, the supportive parents, and the team members who adjusted well to a change in leadership this year. To the returning runners, summer work is crucial, and you decide what type of season you will have next year. Your last mile at Wickham is the culmination of 4 months of work. I'd like to introduce as our next speaker, our girls cross-country coach, me. The girls cross-country season started off with many U-turns, as we learned on our way to our first invitational in Washington, New York, that Connecticut buses do not fit under tunnels that the same size New York buses fit under. We followed it up with a third place finish at Stratton Brook Invite, and Emma Krebs walked away with intact tibias, which proved crucial to the rest of the season. The regular season flew by, and we had an undefeated record heading to undefeated Nonawag. We came up a little short that day with another U-turn, this time by a runner, but we did run fast enough that Bridget could get a dog. At the BL Championships, we had 3 first-team athletes, Emma Krebs, the individual champion, Elisa Fooney, and Aileen Rosa, but once again, we came away runner-up. Elisa, otherwise known to finish line announcers everywhere as Elsa, escaped a vicious treadmill attack the week of states. The states race was a battle between 3 teams, the Derby Red Raiders, the Chippewa Spartans, and the Immaculate Recruiters. At the 2-mile mark, the runner-up place was still in question. 5 finishers from each team crossed the finish line, and coaches and parents were doing the math, and we thought we had it. Emma finished 3rd overall. She's the public school and the people's champ. And Elisa will be the top returning Class S runner next year. Aileen and Autumn were also inside the top 15. I'd like to introduce you to the runner-up plaque, named JJ, John Jr., affectionately called by the team, and presented to Mrs. Gallo. To celebrate, I invited the team to my house for a pizza party. and then canceled it 10 minutes later. Because the same night I had to practice the Heimlich on dummies to keep my coaching certification. On to opens, where Emma has so many shirts from past years that she wasn't even sure she wanted one this year. The goal is to not finish last, which is the customary spot for the Class S runner-up. We achieved that and beat both M teams, which meant that Nanawa was the last place team at opens. Second in the Berkshire League, second at States. Next year is going to be different. Thank you to the parents for food and rides and support all season. Thank you to Mr. Parachi for justifying a bus to New York. Thank you to Emma Krebs for the last 2 years of dedication and leadership. You'll be sorely missed. Thank you to our trainer Chris for keeping everyone healthy. Thank you to my wife for being a cross-country widow for 3.5 months each year. Cross-country season starts in 2 weeks, ladies. You decide what color that plaque is next year. I would like to introduce our next speaker, our ice hockey coach, Mike Gore.
First, I'd like to congratulate all the student athletes here tonight. You really should be proud of your accomplishments, whether you're new to the sport or you're an all-state player or more. Juggling the responsibilities of athletics and school and being able to handle that and learn how to do that is something that's going to really help you and prove beneficial once you leave these halls. So, nice job this year. For those of you that don't know, Chippewa has a co-op ice hockey team. We've been a co-op with Nanawa, Litchfield, Thomason for the past few years. And then before that, it was just Litchfield and Nanawa. We have a relatively small team. We just have 17 on the roster this season, 5 of whom this year are from Chippewa. So since the only other team in the BL that has a hockey team is the Houstonic Co-op, we play in this huge conference, which is a combo of the SWC, Southwest Conference, and the SEC, Southern Connecticut Conference. And we play teams like Newtown, the Mammoth Co-op of Bethel, Brookfield, and Danbury, Massac, Sheehan, Daniel Hand, and Joel Barlow. Teams that we don't normally see come into play Chippewa teams. This year, returning players from Chippewa, Tucker Redstone and Abby Gora, were joined by freshmen Kasdan Brenner, Jake Wild, and Billy Carriel. And the challenge this season was really piecing together a team with 8 new players that really had never played together and really not played high school hockey, or some of them not even competitive hockey. Despite that, we had a bunch of competitive games this season, though the wins were a bit elusive. Injuries and illness kept the best team off the ice for many of the games. We had Kasdan with a broken thumb that he broke, I think, maybe in the first period and finished the whole game out before he figured it out. And he was out for about 3 weeks. We lost a top-line senior from Nanawa halfway through the season with his second dislocated shoulder. So those were really tough blows to overcome. But we kept our spirits up, battling through the season, a few lineup changes with 4 games remaining, and we really started to get things going. So a shift to forward, and then some inspirational words for Tucker. Tucker, don't make this too complicated. See puck, get puck. That's it. It worked. And then our second intermission snack that was introduced by Jake. Snickers really does satisfy. We were definitely primed for that breakthrough. Our last 3 games, a tough loss, 3-1 to a strong Houstonic team, that Berkshire League rival at the Gunnery, and then a hard-fought 4-0 loss to the eventual state champion Eastern, and then we went to the last game of the season, still looking for that first win. In that finale at the Gunnery Rink on senior night, in front of our biggest crowd of the season, we hosted Barlow, who they needed to defeat us in order to get into the state tournament. With fans from all 4 schools all cheering together, we battled for the full 45 minutes even, and then won 4-3 in dramatic fashion with less than 2 minutes to go in overtime. Honestly, I'm really not sure, I'm just speaking for myself, I would have been any more happy if we had won the Stanley Cup. It was an amazing feeling. In that game, with a goalie from Thomason making 27 saves, goals from players From Chippewa, Litchfield, and Nonawag, this team finally came together and proved exactly what high school co-op teams are all about. What a way to finish and carry on some positive energy into next year. Not many teams can say that they won their last game of the season. With 13 of 17 players and over 90% of our scoring returning, both top lines in their entirety, and adding a strong crew of newcomers, the 18-19 season looks promising. In closing, I'd like to thank the administration here at Chippewa, especially Mr. Parachi. Thank you to Chris Snyder, who is by far the best and most professional athletic trainer in the state. Thank you to parents and fans who braved the cold of the Gunnery Rink and other rinks across the state in southern Massachusetts and watched us on the cube when they couldn't make it. Thanks to the Hockey Booster Club, who makes hockey possible, because it is an expensive sport. I want to thank to Chippewa grad John McGrath, who runs the rink down at the Gunnery, for being so flexible. Our manager, Julia Billings, who made it to every home game and away game that she could, that her winter field hockey season, Stu, allowed. She was at hockey field hockey. Looking forward to one more year, Julia, with you helping out. Thanks to Emlyn Brenner, who sang the national anthem at several games this season, having a special touch. And a special thanks to my assistant coach, awesome assistant coach, Jason Conway. Thank you. I would like to introduce our next speaker, our swim coach, David Martin.
Excellent. Chris wishes he could be here, but he is not, so now I get to take the reins. I was completely new. This is my first experience coaching a high school team, so I was kind of learning the signals and the innuendos, and I think something that was kind of funny is my family came out to see me coach for the first time, and they were behind this glass screen, and they come over and they said, "Dave, you were coaching the kids. What was this?" And I said, well, I was telling them to kick, because I saw Coach Papson walking along the lanes early in the season, and when you want the kids to kick harder, you would just... So I kind of adopted that and just started, come on, kick. So my family thought that was hilarious, so now the ongoing joke that's still going on at home is for me to be sitting on the couch and then have someone out of nowhere, like, peek out of the corner. And like disappear into the bathroom or disappear into another room. I now have a mug that says kick, 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 kick on it. It's kind of funny. So again, Coach Papson apologized for not being able to be here tonight, but I'm really excited to talk about this team. I had an absolute blast coaching everyone. You were all incredibly talented, incredibly gracious and really respectful, and I really appreciate that. You were really welcoming and made me feel really comfortable. For those of you who don't know, I coach an elite amateur team, triathlon team based out of New York City. We have about 120 athletes all around the world, and a lot of these kids could blow a lot of those national swimmers out of the water, which was incredibly impressive. So Chris writes here, we had a building season ahead of us. Despite having a young and small team this year dealing with sickness, injuries, and school trips, you all exceeded our expectations, leading Chippewa swimming to another winning season, which was actually really impressive. I'll say one thing I really took to heart was I saw one student or one athlete one morning at New Milford Sports Club at 5 a.m. I coached my team from 5:45 to 7, and this was a student who was on diving and swimming. And I thought about him going to school during the school day and then having homework and then doing both the sports. And I thought, how do you fit this in? And a lot of the kids were doing Model UN and senior projects. And I really admired that you were able to balance all of your schoolwork, your extracurriculars, your family life. Sometimes I have a hard time even doing my laundry. So to think that you could balance all of that was truly impressive. So in Chippewa swimming history, the team's never had a losing season, which is incredibly impressive. Very rarely do we have a building year, and I think what Chris means by that is we were taking a lot of sophomores and juniors and really trying to develop technique and develop a lot of strength. And then he writes a really nice quote here. The real purpose of racing isn't to win a race, and then he says in parentheses, maybe it is, but it's to test the limits of the human heart. And I think this is a great quote, and it sums up the swim team. A lot of these athletes showed up every practice, every Saturday, put a lot of effort in, and on top of the best times that some of these kids had, I think what was even more impressive were some of the kids who showed up to every single practice and maybe didn't get that time that they had. They learned the life lesson, because you're not always going to win. You're always not going to be handed a win. And when you lose and you learn from that lose and then you go ahead and you end up on top is really the life lesson there. So again, really incredibly impressive from a lot of these kids. So highlights to the season. We had a total of 18 student athletes. I guess that's kind of low considering what's happened from year to year with the swim team. But we ended the season with a total of 203 personal best times, which was absolutely incredible. So at the Berkshire League Championships meet, we kicked off placing second in the 200 medley relay with Jack Kennedy, Jack Pesci, Zach Tabatz, and Jack Wright. Jack Pesci went on to become the BL champion of the 200 IM and the 100 backstroke. Zach Tabatz went on to crush his competitors and take the BL title in the 100 butterfly. And then the team went on to place third in the BL championships. We had 8 athletes qualify for the Class S championships and placed 9th overall out of 33 teams, which I thought was incredibly impressive considering the size of the team, so way to go. So I'd like to thank Chris. I'd like to thank, again, the athletes for being really humble and really respectful to me and listening to me and taking my advice. Everyone was really polite. And thank you to the parents. Athletes, remember that your parents are always going to be your parents. I forgot my button-up shirt on the way here, and I called my mother, and she's the reason I look like an Easter egg. I'm really proud of everybody on the team, and I gotta say, even me leading into competitions, I thought about a lot of the drills that we put the kids through, and how they would taper for events, and how they looked at drills and timing, and that even helped with my competing this year and how I coach my athlete base around the country. So thank you for teaching me a lot, and thank you for being an inspiration to me to continue work hard and do my laundry. Yeah, so congratulations, thank you to the administration, Matt Bracci, for giving me this opportunity to coach. So now I'd like to introduce as our next speaker, the girls basketball coach, Karen Custis.
Good evening. First, some thank yous. I'd like to thank Mrs. Gallo and Mr. Parachi for their continued guidance and support for the girls this year. I'd also would like to thank Chris Schneider, our trainer, and all the countless hours you gave to our team. Late practices, weekends, emails, and texts. We definitely kept you busy, and we're greatly appreciative of trying to keep us healthy. I'd also like to thank a couple of parents, Mike Donahue and Christy Hardy. These two people work when I can't in the off season, and they have the kids participating in AAU basketball, fall leagues, summer leagues, and I feel that they are just a part of how this team grows as I am. They put a lot of heart and time and commitment into helping the kids get better, and I greatly appreciate it. Katie greatly appreciates it, and I'd just like to thank you very much for everything, all you do for our program. I'd like to thank the cheerleaders, who are always a pleasure to watch from across the way on the bench. They do a great job, and we're very appreciative of all the games, the home games that you can come to and cheer for us. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the parents. Basketball is a tough sport in the winter. It's a long sport. It's a lot of late nights, early morning Sunday practices, things like that. And I'm very grateful to all the parents and your support. And many times you're the only ones in the stands, and I'm sure the girls are very appreciative of that as well. This year, we had 6 returning players from a team that went 0-20 last year. But we had 7 freshmen join the team, all with some basketball experience, so Katie and I were pretty excited. I knew this was going to be a rebuilding year with only 2 seniors, no juniors, and all these underclassmen. But we were ready for the challenge. This was going to be a work in progress that was going to take baby steps with small goals this year to bigger steps and more challenging goals next year. Once again, we would have to have freshmen step into varsity roles, starting varsity roles, and hope they were up for the quick hands-on experience. We won 2 out of our first 3 games with a lineup that had 2 seniors, 1 sophomore, and 2 freshmen starting. A great start for us. We went into the new year at 3-3. Again, not bad, but we hadn't hit the hardest part of our schedule, so some tough opponents were going to show up. We would go on to win 3 more games this season and finish the season at 6-14. Some good news out of the 14 losses was that 4 of those losses we lost by under 10 points and had the lead in all of them right up until the final minutes. Just too young to know how to hold on, reach back, and finish. We qualified for the BL tournament and lost in the first round. But as we look back as a team, we were happy as we met several of our team goals that we had set in the first week of practice. The first one, to score more than 40 points in a game. We did it the first game of the season and another 7 times. The second one, to hold our opponents to under 50 points in a game. We did that 12 times out of 20. To average more than 29 points per game as a team, which is what we did the year before, and this year we wound up averaging 37. So I believe this team understands that this season they added another block to their foundation, and in the next 2 years, they will be the opponent others will worry about. All but 3 players played both JV and varsity, giving them much exposure to what the competition in the BL is all about and what it's going to look like over the next few seasons. Our JV team went 16-3, a good sign of things to come. They worked hard and challenged many opponents. A glimpse into the future for Chippewa if they stick with it and continue to persevere. This coming season, without a senior amongst us, we'll have 3 juniors and an array of sophomores and incoming freshmen that look to make it happen. So let's talk about some bright spots we saw this season. Senior captain Avery Sarah led the team in assists and 3-point scoring. She was second on the team in steals. Avery's 4-year career on the basketball court saw her score some 300 points, dish out 86 assists, and nail 47 3-pointers. Nice accomplishments. Senior captain Olivia Moore led the team in rebounding and blocks this year, and also leaves her 4-year basketball career at Chippewa with some respectable stats. 352 career points and 275 career rebounds. We wish both of our seniors the best of luck at college and hope you come back to catch a game over the holidays. To our returning players, I leave you some inspirational comments. To build a winning team, we need to be consistent in our attitudes, our efforts, and our actions. When team members connect and build strong relationships, they just don't work with each other, they work for each other. The connections you create today will be the bonds that strengthen this team tomorrow. We live and attend school in a small community. We see the same people at all different community functions. There's no getting around it. Just because we are not on the basketball court or don't sit at the same lunch table doesn't mean we can't talk to each other, even if it's just a hello. We need to constantly communicate with each other. Communication is the foundation of every great relationship. Communication builds trust. Trust generates commitment. Commitment fosters teamwork, and teamwork delivers results. As Helen Keller once said, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. Make your favorite part of the game the opportunity to play. Make that a goal. Work for it, work hard at it, and achieve it. As Ted Williams also said, just keep going. Everybody gets better if they keep at it. Thank you. I would like to introduce our next speaker, our indoor track coach, Tara Flaherty.
I would like to begin by thanking all the parents for supporting our athletes at our track meets. Indoor track meets last a very long time, especially since we can only attend invitationals. Thank you also to Coach Stinson, who's becoming quite the track guru. We had some standout performances from many athletes this season, led by our seniors. Emma led by example each and every day, and her presence on the team lifts up everyone around her. Her dedication to the sport of running is unmatched. Our T squad improved greatly, led by Armin and Zach. Avery, Chandler, and James also had a good season, though running in the cold weather was not their favorite. Arturo and Brendan also offered comic relief when it was desperately needed. Most of the season was plagued by cold weather and an icy track. I'm still amazed that we were able to finish some of our track workouts without someone slipping on the icy spots. The athletes are very successful at shoveling the track and building snowmen. The team this year grew both in numbers as well as qualifies for the state meet. Coach Stinson and I are very proud of every athlete and their improvements throughout the season. Thank you very much for a good year. I would like to introduce as our next speaker our boys basketball coach, Mike DeFranco.
Good evening. So I'm not remiss. First, I'll start off with a special thanks to the gentlemen who help us a heck of a lot in the off-season, which include Matt Parachi and Mike Schneider, and also a bevy of other parents. As all of the coaches know, and the athletes, I believe, know very well, you make your greatest improvements in a sport in the off-season, and in season you just try to compete and do the best you can. The group we had this particular year was really a great group. I'm not, as the guys know, I'm not real free with my compliments very often, but these guys came to practice every single day. They showed up on Saturday and Sunday practices, very often at 7 a.m., and very often an hour beforehand. And they worked hard for 2, 3, 4 hours each and every day. We started off the season with a real bang, winning our first game, and then we went into our holiday tournament, and we beat Wamogo, who ended up as a state finalist in Class S, and we beat Oxford to win our holiday tournament for the second time in 3 years, which was a tremendous accomplishment. We proceeded there and competed very, very well throughout the BL season. We had a lot of challenges, as a lot of Chepaug sports programs have, being such a small school. We were undersized in a lot of our situations, but we just played tremendously hard each and every game. We had some great runs in the first half of the season, including a week with 3 wins in 3 games, great performances from really everybody, including Kyle LeMay, and a tremendous 3-game week by Joe Bernelli, where he went with consecutive contests going 8 for 11 in 3-point shooting. And so we went into the second half of the year, worked really hard, had a lot of road games. We finished our regular season at 12-8, which was pretty good for us. It really was a giant step forward. We hosted our first BL tournament game in quite a while and won a very close one against Litchfield. We went into our BL semifinals and lost a real tough one to Northwestern, which was a tremendous team. We also ended up being ranked favorably in the state tournament for the first time in a long time. That gave us a home game, and we won a tough one over Tortolet at home, which was really tremendous for our program. We were beaten in the second round by a superior North Brantford team, but we played very, very hard throughout the contest. When you talk about the guys we had, I'd also be remiss if I didn't give a very special shout out to our tremendous captain, Kyle LeMay. He really was tremendous. His growth from a freshman to a senior was outstanding. His maturity all throughout the year was terrific. The coaching staff involved him in many, many player-coach meetings. He was very mature in the way he handled matters with his teammates, and a special shout out to Kyle. In terms of awards and accolades, we had 2 first-team players, which was tremendous. Kyle LeMay was a first-team player, averaging 16 points a game. Joe Bernelli also was a first-team all-virtually player, averaging about 15 a game. Ethan Hibbard was a second-team all-league player. With that nucleus and also a core of other contributors, it was a terrific year. A special thanks to, we had 5 seniors who worked very hard. We had 4 four-year seniors who gave great effort all the way through. That was Alan Stinson, Mike Fiore, Nick Fleming, and of course Kyle LeMay. And our 5th senior was Jack McCarron, who, as we know, was new to the school. Going forward, we have a very bright, optimistic future. We have to continue to work hard. I know we will. This group of guys are really special, as the baseball coach will further elaborate on, and we just have to keep it going. So thank you very much for everything. And I'd like to introduce our next speaker, which is our cheerleading coach, Anne Marie Sarbella.
This year's cheerleading season was a season of ups and downs, both literally and figuratively. Although we had some challenges, we had many accomplishments. Overall, it was a successful season with room to grow and accomplish even more next year. I'm extremely proud of our team and their achievements. One of the accomplishments I'm most proud of was the development of our routine. For those of you not familiar with cheerleading, teams typically pay hundreds of dollars for these routines to be made by professionals. This unfortunately was not in our budget. So instead, our talented captains, Sierra, Olivia, and Mallory, worked tirelessly to develop and teach a routine. As we approached the end of the season and it wasn't complete, they considered throwing in the towel. However, I'm happy to say they didn't give up. They worked together as a team, and by the end of the season, they successfully performed and hit that routine. Way to go, girls. Another obstacle the team overcame time and time again was not having a complete squad. It was a rare game to have everyone in attendance. This prevents a tremendous challenge in cheerleading for the coach as well. Each time someone is absent, every lineup and every stunt group needs to be changed. Due to their flexibility, though, and hard work and teamwork, each and every time they, as they say, made it work. And this is not a small feat. This season, we also offered a brand new and very successful cheerleading clinic. The response was so positive, we unfortunately had to turn many girls away. With a squad of 11, we were only able to accept 23 girls from ages 5 to 11 years old. During the clinic, our team taught jumps, sideline chants, a cheer, stunts, and a halftime routine. The girls attended were then invited to join us for the game. The event was a huge success, and I'm happy to say, amazingly, all 34 girls hit the routine. With the support of the PTO, we were also fortunate to have the WestCon cheerleaders come to Chippewa and offer a stunting clinic. I was impressed with our girls' ability to take risks, step out of their comfort zone, and try new positions and stunts. It was a great learning experience, and we were able to add to our stunting repertoire. Cheerleading can be a very dangerous sport, as we are lifting, throwing, and catching people. One of the known rules in cheerleading is no one hits the ground, with our bases and spotters many times acting as human shields. Fortunately, we had a successful season without any sidelining injuries. Luckily, we didn't need to call on Chris too many times, but we are grateful for her quick and calm assistance when needed. She was definitely a face I hope not to see at practice. There are many others who helped us have a successful season. First, thank you to Matt Parachi. As a new coach, I had endless questions, and I truly appreciate his patience, support, and always being available with a quick response. Thank you to Tammy Beatty for all of your help and support. I can't imagine you not being at practices. A huge thank you to the custodians for always prepping the cafeteria so the girls had a place to practice. To the parents, thank you for helping the girls keep their commitment to the team. I know as a parent, it's not easy juggling the drop-offs and the pickups. I appreciate your flexibility, as Mother Nature definitely tried to keep us on our toes this winter. Thank you for the girls, for being the girls' biggest fans. In retrospect, there's some moms I think we should have called down to the court for one final cheer of Stomp and Shake It. To the girls and boys basketball team, thank you for an exciting season and for being the team that we were proud to cheer for. I'd like to thank our captains, our head captain, Senior Sierra Seletsky. You went above and beyond, and you were someone I could always depend on, so thank you. Thank you to our co-captains, Olivia Cody and Mallory Noonan, for your leadership and hard work, and you always brought laughter. Thank you also to Emery Mancini for taking on the role of spirit coordinator. With your help and leadership, the Holiday Bazaar was very lucrative. Finally, to our seniors, Sierra, Olivia, and Alicia, and our junior exchange student, Celine, you will be missed. Celine, I still say you should start a cheerleading team, and I don't mind flying over to help get started. To senior Alicia Crossley, your energy, enthusiasm, and school spirit will be greatly missed. I'm so proud of you for trusting in your abilities and taking on risks both as a base and a flyer. To all of the seniors, as you move to your next chapter, I wish you all the best. I know there are great things ahead for you. I'd like to introduce our next speaker, our girls tennis coach, Joanne Kelly.
Thanks for that. Good evening. The 2018 girls tennis season started with a large group of young, eager, but still somewhat inexperienced players, all ready and willing to fight for varsity spots. I knew I had a lot of potential in my hands, and I also knew the season could go very right or very wrong. I'm happy to report that it went very right. This year's team finished the regular season with a record of 14-2, second only to Litchfield, to whom we lost 2 closely contested matches. Playing singles for us this year were juniors Emma Cassis and at number 1, co-captain Abby Gora at number 2, Sidel Letcher at number 3, and sophomore Annika Vikstrom at number 4. Collectively, they were a force to be reckoned with each individual match worth 1 point and needing 4 points to win a match. Only one team other than Litchfield penetrated that wall. With 76 combined matches resulted in an impressive 61 wins and only 10 losses between the 4 of them. A little shout out to Annika Vikstrom, who finished her season undefeated this year. Our doubles teams were also competitive, and after a little bit of juggling, we settled into a really strong lineup. Sophomores Taryn Crossley and Rebecca Raz were at number 1 and finished 12-3. Senior co-captain Nadia Raz and sophomore Carly Gruss were at 2 and finished at 12-1. And sophomore Mahalet Steinmetz anchored the number 3 doubles team, playing with Erin Bailey, Gabby Amato, Maya Masana, Brianna Chakowski, Liv Meyer, and Katie Gilbo, and together they all compiled a 14-5 record. The team also had great success at the Berkshire League tournament. Sidel, Annika, Mahalet, and Erin all played well, winning at least 1, if not 2 of their matches and gaining valuable experience. But when the tournament dust settled, 6 girls found themselves having earned Berkshire League All-Star status. Half of the league total and the most from any team. So congratulations to Berkshire League All-Stars, Emma, Abby, Rebecca, Taryn, Nadia, and Carly. A special congratulations to Emma, who capped her performance in the final by beating the number 1 seed and 2-time defending league champ Lexi Honigman from Litchfield to win the 2018 singles championship. Strong run at the Class S state title followed, featuring wins over Old Saybrook and Westbrook, and finally coming to a close Wednesday with a loss in the semifinals here at home to perennial powerhouse Weston. In my 17 years of coaching, only 2 other teams have made it to the semifinals, and the last one was 9 years ago, so again, a tremendous effort by this young team. Our season continues tomorrow as 6 girls qualified to compete at the Connecticut State Open up in West Hartford. Emma and Abby in the singles draw, and Rebecca and Taryn and Nadia Carly in the doubles, so wish them good luck when you see them later. So looking forward, the good news is that 9 of the 10 starters return next year. The bad news is we say goodbye to Nadia Raz. As our only senior this year, Nadia fully embraced the role of captain. With her rousing texts of support before and after matches, her reminders to hydrate and stretch, and what to wear on game days, her loud commands during warm-ups on the court and her vocal lead-in to the team cheer, organizing the purchase of Chippewa tennis gear, and making sure the ball and water schedule was dutifully followed. She epitomized what it means to be a senior leader. We will miss you for sure, Nadia. We wish you all good things as you move on to bigger and better adventures at St. Michael's. I hope that they know how lucky they are to get you. And just a few quick thank yous to my now official assistant coach, Jim Kelly, to my unofficial but equally valuable assistant coach, Michelle Gora, who covered on several occasions when neither of us could be there, to Mr. Parachi for his continued help and support with keeping the season moving forward, and to Chris Schneider for keeping our girls healthy, to the teachers and staff for your patience when we pull athletes out of class to attend competitions. And finally, I'd like to just say a personal thank you to the girls and their families. This spring was uniquely challenging for me personally. Who's gonna do this? And to require me to pull away from the team more than usual. Your understanding, love, and support throughout the last month was very much appreciated. It just reminded me again of how fortunate I am to be a part of this community, so thank you. I'd like to introduce our next speaker, our boys tennis coach, Eric Hansen.
No pressure following that. All right, so a person's life can be measured by the opportunities they said yes or no to. And when there was a vacancy for boys tennis coach, I thought, oh, I could do that. I won coaches. I won the coaches award in high school, no problem. Then a few minutes passed, and I thought, no, you'll ruin their lives. True story, true feelings. So, however, I will fast forward to the end of the season where I collected the following experiences. A player accepting a doubles role in favor of team momentum. A player not exploding once throughout the entire season when coaches were betting on him and hoping that he would. A player causing multiple players in the league to shout, growl, and punt. I repeat, punt their rackets. A player getting the call for his first match. Responding with terror when I told him that it was against the #1 team, but then him going out there and competing his guts out. 2 players informing me mid-bus ride that they forgot their tennis shoes. A bus driver wanting us to win because, I'll just put it this way, she strongly disliked the opposing team's coach. It's memories like these and much more that make me relieved that when this opportunity became available, I didn't say no. At this time, I would like to introduce the boys track coach, John Spear.
Boys Outdoor Track was a small but talented squad this year. The first meet was at balmy Northwestern High School, where the 40-mile-per-hour winds combined with the 28-degree weather and led to some snow and hail, but hey, at least it wasn't raining. We look forward to the rest of the season where it would be much drier and warmer. We lost that day and then proceeded to win every other dual meet throughout the year to finish with an 8-1 regular season record. Everyone on the team scored in at least one meet, and our commitment to attending practices separated us from most of the Berkshire League. A showdown with Nonwag was our last meet of the year, and although they stalled and ran everything separate and took 3.5 hours to complete a 1.5-hour meet, we came away victorious with a final score of 80-70. At the Berkshire League Monsoon, or Championships, our group of 18 athletes stood in the cold rain again for 5 hours and came in 3rd overall, by far the top Class S school. Top point scorers for the regular season were Cameron Brown, Chandler Weatherby, Mark DeRozier, Gavin Block, and Gavin McCabe. Some new faces proved crucial to our success. Jack McCarron, John Galligan, Zach Bowman, and Dylan DeFonce all played critical roles in wins this year. Gavin Block proved to be the second best athlete in the Berkshire League at the BL Festival with a runner-up finish in the decathlon. He's taking that dub next year. And Gav's grandma was voted Track Fan of the Year on the bus ride home from States yesterday. Congratulations to her. I'd like to thank all the athletes, all the parents, Coach Flaherty, Coach Scott, Coach Brown for helping me throughout this season. To the seniors, I know you're going to do great things in the future, and I look forward to hearing about them and reading about you. Thank you. I would like to introduce as our next speaker, our girls track coach, Tara Flaherty.
I promise this is my last time up here. Before I begin, I would be remiss if I did not thank my husband and children for putting up with me coaching 3 seasons in a row. If I have to take another phone call saying, when are you going to be home? And I have to respond, well, I'm at track meet again, so probably 8:30, 9 o'clock. But beyond that, this has really been a great year for our track and field teams. Coach Scott and I would like to start out by thanking the parents of our athletes for attending our meets and even assisting at most of the away meets. The athletes and coaching staff appreciate your support. Though the weather was not cooperative this year, as Coach just mentioned, our athletes rallied to some great performances nonetheless. There was some great competition for our top point scorer this year. Our top point scorer and winner of the cake was junior Olivia Tabats, followed closely by senior Emma Krebs. It's very difficult for a distance runner to earn that cake. What impressed me most about the girls' team, however, is that every girl on the team scored at least 1 point during the season. This speaks volumes to the strength of our program. Our team had a lot of fun this season and dedicated a great amount of time to the weight room, core exercises, and shin splint prevention exercises. Members of the team were literally kicked out of the weight room every day at the end of practice. Some team members also dedicated their morning time to additional workouts. This bodes well to our future. There were a lot of different moments throughout the season that stand out. Throwers getting personal bests and improving every single meet. Jumpers making heights and distances, runners making state cuts, snow falling, rain, more very, very cold rain. And the most interesting weight room music I've ever heard. Our seniors, Emma Krebs and Olivia Cody, were excellent captains. Their leadership is the reason why each athlete felt important, and every athlete contributed in scoring at competitions this season. Emma's dedication and persistence and pure desire to compete raises the bar for everyone on the team. Olivia proved her dedication this season, stepping up and making the Berkshire League standard for high jump with a scissor kick jump. She also provided the counterbalance to Emma's intensity. The combination of both girls helped to encourage everyone to do their best at every practice and every meet. We will miss them greatly this year. Good luck, ladies. I would like to introduce our next speaker, our softball coach, Steve Pickett.
Well, this year we started out with a new look. We had 4 first-year starters. We had 5 talented freshmen, a first-year sophomore who missed last year due to injury, not in softball. The players did a great job in the field and batting. The returning starters supplied lots of power for the team with 9 home runs, led by Lucy Fuskus at 6, and Hannah lasted at 2. Olivia had 1. And we had 20 triples. We finished the season 11-9, returned to the state tournament. We drew East Granby and played a great game and competed to the very end, but lost 5-4. Lucy Puskas did most of our pitching this year and was at or near the top of all the league offensive stats. She was voted the second team All-Star, which I can't comment on that. I did comment at the meeting about that though. This year I had trouble getting around and I really need help doing stuff on the field that I used to do. It was all last year I could do it too. I'd like to thank Olivia and Hannah for coming down to put the lines on the field. They show up 2 hours before the game and help me with whatever it took. And they're good at it. One time even Matt Parachi came and helped us put the lines on the field. We did good on the baselines, but when we were done putting the batter's boxes in, they were facing the shortstop. I think we might fire him. All right. We lose 3 seniors this year. Lexi Gilball, who just started her sophomore year. She improved each year, and this year, in our best win of the season against Nonawog, she had a clutch pinch hit, line drive RBI, and the crowd went crazy. All right, and we have 2 more, our 2 senior captains, both 4-year players who did a lot for the program and did a lot for their coach. Olivia Moore and Avery No are the most helpful players I've ever coached. If something needed to be done, they just do it. After practice, Olivia was always the first player out to rake the field, and usually Avery was the second one. And that told you what the rest of our team was doing. If I needed any help, they helped me. I needed help this year too. They did what they could to help me. Even in this last practice of the season, of course, all the other team, all our players were in the dugout, and Olivia's been dragging the pitching screen in, and I started to say, "Could somebody?" And before I could complete it, Avery's halfway out to the mound to help her. And I don't think, like captain, like Derek Tree, you probably had to do that stuff. And the play I'll remember Olivia by this year is our home run that she walled against Northwest. Was it? I was going to say that one I would remember why was her freshman year when she did the 3-run homer against Stafford in a tournament game to tie the score. And then she'll remind me that I didn't put her into pitch at the end of the game. We lost the game in the last inning. With the experience of our younger players got this year, we should be competitive again next year. And I'd like to thank Chris for showing up all over the place. Matt, except for helping with the lines, with all the stuff he did for me, and the tens of fans who come to see us play. I would like to introduce our next speaker, baseball coach Scott Barkov.
Good evening. I'd like to start off by congratulating all the athletes and their families here tonight. The accomplishments of you guys throughout the year every year they're impressive. I'll start with thank you to our administration, Mrs. Gallo and Mr. Parachi, for your help and support, to Chris Schneider, to our coaches, Mr. Conway and Pokey, and Mr. Wright for continuing to keep our book. To all of the people who help out on Ted Alex Field, including Rob Hibbert and Neil Kennedy and Pokey and whatever crew they can get down there in the fall, so when we get there in the spring, it's ready to go. But especially to our parents for your support of your sons and for allowing me to spend my afternoons with your kids instead of my own for the spring. Yours listen better than mine do, at least on the field. At some point when this season is over, and hopefully not for the next few days, it's going to be fun to look back and really reflect. But right now, it's fun to be in the middle of this. It's fun to continue to go to the field every day with this group of guys. And as Mr. LeFaye mentioned, this is really a good group of kids, and that's where it starts. I wrote this in pencil and it's smudged, and I got to move the card. One of the things that stands out this year is just the fun getting to the field every day with this group, and it's a lot of times it's the silly things like watching Jack Schneider and Jack Pesci and Jack Kennedy, sorry, Jack and Tucker try to move the batting cage, and they constantly break it. And we fix it, and they break it. And every day Nick Fleming will get in the way and stop it, and they still haven't figured out why it stops. It's also fun knowing that no matter who they line up to play against, who we line up to play against the next couple weeks, we know we have the better team going onto the field. But we need to keep Cole's words in mind and stay humble. Anybody can be anybody on any given day. This is kind of an old school Chippewa team. People would come up and, hey, you guys are having a great year, and the first thing that comes to mind, yeah, they're just a really good group of kids who love to come to the field every day, whether it's practice or a game. I've tried to get there pretty early, and I can't beat them there, so I just text them and say, hey, set this up, because they're going to be there before me anyway. But it started way before these guys walked in March. It started way before these guys walked in to high school. And, you know, again, to talk about the old school Chippewa teams, this team had what a lot of us who grew up here a few years ago were lucky enough to have. And from the time we first started playing, really good people to work with us, really good people to coach us, great support at home. And then they moved on and got with Dave Scribner and Coach Kirsten. So they've had a lot of real good people working with them over the years, and this season is a product of what they've had from the time that they were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. So we appreciate all of the efforts. And as we go forward, you guys keep in mind all of those people who have helped get you to where you are, that we can have this kind of season. There's 4 seniors this year, J-Mo, Alan, Nick, and Kyle. And we didn't name captains this year. We wanted to leave it open. Not only are these 4 really good leaders, but we have some younger guys who are good leaders. But these 4 have set the tone, and they've done a great job from the first day. This year, Coach Conway introduced a bar of soap to be given out at the end of every game to the dirtiest player, or the smelliest, or that would just look like he could use a shower. Ethan got a few. But it also was meant to remind them of how to play the game right, how to play the game hard, and these guys have. And we talked a little bit today about how many extra bases we've taken, how many little things we've done just by hustle. And again, it just goes back to them enjoying being on the field and having fun doing it. And it's fun getting down there with them every day. And it's fun not being the oldest guy on the field, crankiest guy in the field, now that Owen's part of the program. So, he's the oldest freshman I know, but he's also, nobody rakes him out better than he does. So as we head into tomorrow, 3:30, Ted Alex Field, if anybody needs something to do tomorrow afternoon. I'm looking forward to more fun tomorrow. I'm looking forward to a lot of this, and I can't wait to hear the horns honking. I'd like to now introduce our next speaker, Mr. Charles.
Good thing you didn't give him pants.
That's up to Eric.
Not yet.
I'd like to start off by thanking my captain from last year's team, Eamon Crossley, for doing such a great job reading my speech last year on this night while I was rehabbing my knee. I believe he's in the audience tonight. If he is, can you please stand? Eamon, is he here? During the winter, I was informed that we had lost our number 3 player from last year, Sadell Letcher. She decided to go back to tennis. Our number 5 player from that year, Damon Adele, transferred to New Milford. So now we were looking at a very inexperienced squad come springtime. Actually, spring didn't come until about May 4th. The funny thing is that the CIAC's official start date for practice this year was March 19th. At that time, there was at least a foot of snow on the ground, and we didn't get on a course till about April 15th. I even went beyond hand warmers this year. I bought electric gloves. They were horrible. They didn't work. Of course, we would not have to go through all of that if golf were a fall sport, something we as coaches have been pushing for the last 10 years or so. The CIAC Golf Committee put out a survey a few years back, which resulted in 59% of the coaches in favor of switching golf to the fall. Connecticut and Rhode Island are now the only New England states that still play golf in the spring. One of the concerns was that the season would run too late and it would start to get dark during play. Well, with our team, that wouldn't matter because we can't see the ball when it's light out. We said that we could begin matches as soon as school started in late August. CIAC said no because you have the 10 practice rule. So after these players have been playing golf all summer, they have to legally have 10 more practices before they could play in a match because we wouldn't want them to pull a muscle walking up some hilly par 3, now would we? A little bit about our season. We struggled quite a bit, but we were not the worst. Wamogo and Litchfield were ranked below us. We finished with a record of 3-13. We actually did improve some as our scores started to drop from the mid-240s to a season low 215 in our last match. In comparison to qualifying for states, you need to be shooting in the low 180s. I have to tell you though, winning a match 241 to 242 is just as exciting as winning 181 to 182. It just takes a lot longer. I only scheduled 9 matches, one less than the minimum needed to qualify for states because I wanted to keep everyone's pain to a minimum. The head of the CIAC Golf Committee kept emailing me, telling me that I had not scheduled enough matches. I kept telling him, that I was aware of the rule and that we had no chance of making mistakes. I finally had to call the guy and tell him that I was bald and that I'd have a better chance of growing hair than making mistakes. He finally understood. My friends at bowling would ask me how my team was doing. I would tell them, not very good, you know, high 70s, low 80s. And they'd say, Charlo, you have a good team. My response was, fellas, those scores are for 9 holes. I have to tell you, I've coached a number of different sports over the years, but there's none more frustrating than coaching golf. In basketball, I can teach a girl proper form for shooting a foul shot, show her a routine, along with some mental preparation to get her ready to succeed with the shot. I can do the same with a golf shot, except one day the kid shows up with what we call the shanks. If you don't know what the shanks are, that's when every shot that a right-handed golfer hits with any of his irons, from the 5-iron down to the wedge, go directly to the right. No matter what you do, what adjustment you make, every one of your shots flies out directly to the right. I had an old-timer once tell me he would rather have the shingles than the shake. That's how bad they are. To go back to the girl shooting the free throw, that would be like her having 10 free throw attempts during a game and airballing all 10. That same golfer will come back to practice the next day and his iron shots will be normal again. That is why the great Bobby Jones once said, golf is played on a 5.5-inch course, space between your ears. Our team members were senior Jack Roush. Jack has continued to learn more about the game this season, and next year he'll be going to school where golf was born. He will be attending the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. Second-year player Henry Roush made enough improvement during the season that he was able to count his score in a few matches toward the end of the year. Two-way Teddy Eichen. We call him two-way because he has 2 ways of playing golf, slow and slower. All kidding aside, I'm very proud of Teddy. Last year, he never played in a match. This year, he was our number 5 player throughout the season. Teddy has a nice fluid swing, and he's just going to get better with more experience. Fast Eddie Puskas. Eddie is the opposite of Teddy. If you don't slow him down, to slow his play down, he'll finish 9 holes in an hour. Eddie only played in a few matches last year, so this was his first varsity year, and he also improved considerably throughout the season. What's really nice now with Ed is that I, the coach, can slow him down on some of his shots during the round. You see, a few years ago, the rocket scientists at the CIAC Golf Committee finally decided that the sport of golf can now join all other sports in the world that allow the coach to talk to his players during the contest. Otherwise, coach during the match. That is revolutionary. Grant Ketchum played in the number 3 spot for us. Like Eddie, Grant only played in a few matches last year, so this was his first varsity year also. Grant also improved during the season. However, struggles did occur during the early part of the year. I love that song, Good Old Days, by Macklemore and Kesha. So I wrote a few lines for Grant to the tune of that song. Don't worry, he is not missing out because I sang it to him a few times already, and he did approve. Here we go. I wish somebody would have told Grant not to hit his driver out of bounds 4 times and take an 18 on the hole. Now I'm left with restless nights. How could I forget an 18 on the hole? Grant is our most conservative golfer. That's why this story is so mind-boggling. A risk taker, he is not. Yet, on that nightmarish day at Norfolk Country Club, Grant was taking his golf advice from some unknown evil golf goblin. The good news is that I still love him because of all the good that he's done for the program over the last 2 years far outweigh what happened on that day. Playing number 2 for us was junior Tiernan Crossley. Tiernan really started to play well at the end of the season as he qualified for the BL All-Star Tournament for the first time. I was so proud of the way he handled himself, playing in the number 2 spot all season, going up against some very good players. He knew that he could not beat them, so he did exactly what he was supposed to do, stay within 4 or 5 strokes of his stronger competition in order to give his team a chance to win. He still has not beaten me in 3 years, but I'm confident that he will finally get his elusive Charlo W next season. Our number 1 player this year was our captain, James Foote, a 3-year varsity starter. As a freshman, James averaged 55, in his second season 51, as a junior 48, and this season more improvement down to 44. That is the kind of improvement that you like to see in a player over 4 years. In the BL All-Star Tournament, he shot a respectable 84. He missed being virtually all-star by, get this, 0.4 of a stroke. He was our MVP. James was the kind of player that every coach would love to have. You tell him something and he goes and works on it. He's always trying to improve his game, whether it's making some minor tweaks to his swing or polishing his putting stroke. James is always willing to put in the time on weekends to improve his game. As a captain, he did so much for me. Driving players, communicating with the younger players, showing leadership, and even handling some of the scoring duties at the end of a few matches. I will miss him dearly. I would like to thank all the parents for the rides from many different locations, and Mr. Parachi for his continued support of our program. It is time now for our awards. I love that song.
It's now time for the presentation of student awards. As mentioned earlier, the awards presented tonight are determined based upon the Chappaqua Valley Athletic Point System, which is explained on pages 5 through 9 of your program. Each athlete who competes in a sport at Chappaqua Valley High School is given points by his or her coach at the completion of each season based upon this point system. While athletes of all levels are given points, only varsity letter winners can qualify for awards and are invited to tonight's ceremony. Because of the large number of award winners honored tonight, we will present some awards in 2 groups. All award winners are asked to enter the stage directly in front of me, where all the coaches were coming up and down, to stay on the stage until all the award winners have been presented their awards, and to exit on the opposite side of the stage that they came up from. Tonight's first student awards are presented to our first-time letter winners. Each varsity letter winner has competed at the varsity level during the athletic season and has had his or her coach designate him or her as a varsity letter winner, based upon criteria that the coach has determined and explained at the beginning of the season. Each first-time letter winner receives a traditional white and blue Chappaqua varsity letter S. As I announce the names of each letter winner, I would like each to come forward to receive his or her letter winner and to stay on the stage until I have called every letter winner. I'd also like to ask that everyone please hold his or her applause until I have called the last letter winner. Now for the first of our 2 groups of first-time letter winners, Ava Adeletti, Rachel Andrews, Kasdan Brenner, Claire Buckley, Sarah Capolozzi, Billy Cario, Ailish Crossley, Cole Davenport, Dylan DeFonts, Brooke Donahue, Teddy Eichen, John Galligan, Lucino Romano. I know he's not here. No, he's not here, but we just wanted to recognize him. Jolie Grazia, Abigail Hardy, Bailey Heron, Spencer Heron, Owen Hibbert, Maya Jacob, Celine Jacobson, And the last of our first half of our first-time letter winners, Grant Ketchum. Congratulations to our first group of first-time letter winners. Thank you. Now for our second group of first-time letter winners, Devin Langworthy, Haley Lasky, Eric Lindblom, Maddie Maloney, Imre Mancini, Catalina Manzanon, Betty Mark, Jack McCarron, Olivia Meyer, Maya Masana, Patrick O'Rourke, Joanna Pardo, Anna Sprong, Colin Stewart, Blaine Tinsley, Jack Tredenick, Sydney Vidal, Ryan Wagenblass, Jake Wild, and our last first-time letter winner of 2018, Justin Wyatt. Congratulations to our first-time letter winners. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to note the following addition to this evening's program. We were pleased to learn today, after the program had already been printed, that we had students selected to the All-State team in their spring sport. We will recognize all of our All-State and All-League athletes later in the program, but I did want to mention our spring All-State athletes separately, since their accomplishments were not able to be included in the written program. Please join me in congratulating Ethan Hibbert and Chance Dutcher for being selected to the All-State baseball team. Our next group of award winners are our award pin winners. These athletes are return letter winners who will receive an award pin representing each sport he or she earned a varsity letter in this year. For the first group of award pin winners, Jack Abbott, Francesca Amato, Gabriella Amato, Kayla Amorosa, Tegan Anderson, Aaron Bailey, Emerson Carranza, Brianna Chakowski, Taryn Crossley, Mark DeRochers, Drew Dorwald, Carly Gruss, Diego Gutierrez, Tiffany Horton, Nick Iannazzo, Emma Cassis, Wilson King, and the last of our first half of award pin winners, Tierney Kovacs. Congratulations to our first group award. Thank you. Now for our second group award pin winners. Sidell Letcher. Gavin McCabe. Elizabeth Nunzig. Mallory Noon. Gwen Noto. Eddie Puskas. Nadia Raz. Rebecca Raz. Henry Roush. Courtney Sibbett. Julia Sinatra. Stasia Slastushinskaya. Bridget Snyder.
Yeah, Bridge!
Skylar Seletsky. Mahalet Steinmetz. Caitlin Stump. Annika Vikstrom. And our last award pin winner of 2018, Kyle Westervelt. Congratulations, award pin winners. Our next award is presented to those who have accumulated 450 points and have earned the Chippewa Valley varsity jacket. In order to accumulate 450 points, an athlete must have participated in more than one sport and have participated in a minimum of 6 athletic seasons. Gavin Block. Zach Bowman. Cam Brown. Joe Brunelli. Autumn Collette. Jaden Cornwall. Alicia Crossley. Cole Donahue. Nate Dusky. Isabel Eddy. Katie Gilbo. Ethan Hibbert. Lily Keefe. Noah Levine. Aaron McGrath. Owen Moore. Devin O'Dwyer. Arturo Ortega. Nadia Ostrowski. Sam Pontalillo. Lucy Puskas. Tucker Redstone. Gabe Toronto. And our last jacket winner of 2018, Grace Thurmer. Congratulations to our jacket winners. Our next award is presented to those who have accumulated 600 points and will be awarded a Chippewa Spartan 600-point plaque. The earliest an athlete can win this award is in 11th grade, and along with many seniors, there are also juniors who have reached the 600-point mark this year. We will present the 600-point plaques in 2 groups. Eliza Effioni, Julia Billings, Cassidy Borger, Armin Sarek, Brandon Cheney, Taryn Crossley, Chance Dutcher, Andreas Espinosa, Mike Fiore, James Foote. Abby Gora. Lexi Gilbo. Grace Harding. Ethan Hibbert. Jack Kennedy. Hannah Lasky. Amy Lowe. And the last of our first half of 600-point winners, Sophia Mantanone. Congratulations to our first group of 600-point class winners. Now for our second group. Mike McCluskey, Aaron McGrath, Avery Noto, Allison Parker, Dominic Parachi, Jack Pesci, Bailey Pody, Tucker Redstone, Aileen Rosa, Jack Schneider, Avery Sarah, Sierra Seletsky, Olivia Tabat, Zach Tabat, Grace Wagenblas, Chandler Weatherby, and our last 600-point winner of 2018, Jack Wright. Congratulations, 600-point winners. The Berkshire League annually honors those students who are successful not only in athletics, but in academics as well. The Berkshire League Scholar Athlete Award goes to any athlete who has earned a varsity letter while academically achieving high honors. For fall sports, an athlete must achieve high honors in the first marking period. For winter sports, it must be done during the second marking period. And for spring sports, it must be done during the third marking period. We ask that the following Berkshire League Scholar athletes please come forward to receive your certificate when your name is called. Elisa Effioni. Francesca Amato. Rachel Andrews. Julia Billings. Kasdan Brenner. Billy Carrio. Crossley. Isabel Eddy. Abby Gora. Jolie Grazia. Carly Gruss. Ethan Hibbert. Maddie Maloney. Mike McCluskey. Elizabeth Nunzig. Avery Noto. Devin O'Dwyer. Nadia Ostrowski. Lucy Puskas. Bridget Snyder. Gabe Toronto. Sydney Vidal. Annika Vikstrom. And our last Berkshire League Scholar Athlete of 2018, Jake Wild. Congratulations, Berkshire League Scholar Athletes. Chippewa Valley Scholar Athlete Awards are given to the top senior boy and girl student athletes who have displayed a commitment to excellence in the area of academics as well as athletics. This year's Scholar Athletes have consistently made sacrifices throughout their high school careers. This year's Scholar Athletes are Emma Krebs and James Foote. Our next group of award winners, those who have reached the 800-point mark, will receive a silver 800-point award trophy. This year's group of 800-point winners are some of the most dedicated, consistent, and valuable multi-sport athletes at Chippewa. Olivia Cody. Nick Fleming. James Kennedy. Kyle LeMay. Olivia Moore. Alan Stinson. Chandler Weatherby. And our last 800-point winner, Jack Wright. Congratulations to our 800-point winners, a very significant accomplishment. This year, we've had students named to Berkshire League All-Star teams in their respective sports, as well as All-State athletes. Berkshire League All-Stars will receive their awards at next week's Berkshire League All-Star Banquet, but we would like to recognize their achievements here tonight. I would like to ask each All-Star athlete to please stand when his or her name is called. Emma Krebs, All-State and a Berkshire League All-Star in cross country and a Berkshire League All-Star in track. Lisa Effioni, All-State and a Berkshire League All-Star in cross country. Chandler Weatherby, All-State and a Berkshire League All-Star in cross country. Olivia Moore, All-State and a Berkshire League All-Star in field hockey. Lexi Gilbo, Berkshire League All-Star in cross country and field hockey. Sorry. Aileen Rosa, a Berkshire League All-Star in cross country. Jack McCarron, Berkshire League All-Star in cross country. Jack Pesci, Berkshire League All-Star in swimming. Zach Tabatz, Berkshire League All-Star in swimming. Mark DeRochers, Berkshire League All-Star in diving. Kyle LeMay, a Berkshire League All-Star in basketball. Joe Brunelli, a Berkshire League All-Star in basketball. Emma Cassis, a Berkshire League All-Star and the Berkshire League singles champion in tennis. Sam Pontilillo, Berkshire League All-Star in tennis. Abby Gora, Berkshire League All-Star in tennis. Drew Dorwald, Berkshire League All-Star in tennis. Nadia Raz, a Berkshire League All-Star in tennis. Carly Gruss, Berkshire League All-Star in tennis. Rebecca Raz, a First League All-Star in tennis. Karen Crossley, the last of our many First League All-Stars in tennis. Ethan Hibbard, All-State and a First League All-Star in baseball. Chance Dutcher, All-State and a First League All-Star in baseball. Alan Stinson, First League All-Star in baseball. Congratulations to all of our All-Star athletes. 1,000-point award winners are those athletes who have been consistent three-sport athletes throughout their high school careers. This year's 1,000-point award recipients have not only been dedicated and consistent, but they've also shown leadership, responsibility, athletic excellence, and sportsmanship throughout their high school athletic careers at Chippewa. Our first 1,000-point winner of 2018, Emma Krebs. Our next 1,000-point winner, Kyle LeMay. Next achieving the 1,000-point mark, Olivia Moore. And our last 1,000-point award winner for 2018, Alan Stinson. Congratulations, 1,000 point award. We have now come to the two top awards given based upon the Chippewa Valley Athletic Point System, the Joseph Babcock Award and the Charles McInnes Award. These awards are given to the top senior girl and top senior boy point winners each year. It is important to note that these awards are based upon point totals and are not judgments of athletic ability. However, it is also important to note that an athlete cannot win either of these awards without being one of the school's top athletes. Winners of the Babcock and McInnes Awards are those athletes who have consistently made the greatest contributions to their respective athletic teams from freshman year until senior year. The Joseph Babcock Award, which goes to the senior girl who has accumulated the most points, was initiated in 1980 by the Chippewa Valley High School coaching staff. Joseph Babcock was an avid sports fan that rarely missed a field hockey, girls basketball, or softball game. Mr. Babcock has had this award, as well as the scoreboard in the gym, named in his memory. As a member of the Chippewa cross-country, indoor track, and outdoor track teams, the winner of the 2018 Joseph Babcock Award is Emma Krebs. The Charles McInnes Award, which goes to the senior boy who has accumulated the most points in his class, was established in 1962 by the Washington High School coaching staff. Charles McInnes was an avid Washington High School sports fan who has had this prestigious award named in his memory. As members of the soccer, cross-country, basketball, and baseball teams, the winners of the 2018 Charles McInnes Award are Alan Stinson and Kyle LeMay. Congratulations, Kyle. On behalf of the entire Chippewa Valley High School faculty, I'd like to wish each and every award winner congratulations. Thank you to everyone in attendance, and before you drive home safely, please join us in the cafeteria for dessert. Thank you.